What's up?
It's Cannonman from Rage Quitter here. Thought I'd shoot another video because not too long ago I finally received my Ouya. Most of you have heard of this by now. It's the little system that could/couldn't because there have definitely been some hiccups in the process. I found out about it a little early into the Kickstarter, but I was kind of concerned that it might be a scam, so I didn't jump in on the Kickstarter, but a couple of months after it passed and they started taking reserves on the actual system, I thought I would reserve one. So I plunked one down in about September. As you all know, they've been having trouble with shipping. A lot of the Kickstarters were supposed to receive theirs in March. I was supposed to receive mine in April. I did not get mine until early July, maybe about the little after the 4th of July weekend. But I received it, and I've been fiddling with it, so I had some thoughts about it. First thing I would like to talk about before I get into the actual system, though, is their current PR thing right now. If you've been to the Ouya site or been to their Facebook page, they're getting beat to shit by their community. Almost every video or post they put up is just met with a stream of "fuck Ouya, Ouya sucks, blah, 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 blah." They're mad and they keep complaining about not receiving their system. Totally justified, but there's two things that you need to remember here. One, the people who kickstarted, you offered a donation. It wasn't a pre-order. You'd contributed money to a project that you believed in, and this was to help them start this up. They offer you gifts for doing so, and I feel they should, meet on those, but it's a donation. It's not a reservation. What I did, I pre-ordered it. I went to their business website, and I pre-ordered it for their estimated release date. That being said, after a while, I was getting concerned about my reserve too, and they weren't responding to anything on the Facebook accounts, and I'm being told a lot of emails weren't getting answered either, but I figured I would give it a shot anyways. I went to their site, and I sent them an email, and I was very polite and sincere, and I said, look, I'm not looking to remove my reserve, I believe in this project, but you guys have to see how badly you're getting beaten up by this. I would like to know what's going on, and I would like if somebody could come out and make some kind of statement. I actually got a response, a very nice response from their staff, and he basically told me, look, I understand that it's frustrating. We've been getting just an onslaught of shitty emails about it. The only reason I'm taking the time to respond to this is because you were so polite and eloquent about it. And he basically told me that they were having shipping issues from the other countries where the system is being manufactured, and they're basically running the show on a team of like 30. I took it at face value, and I said, thank you for responding, I can't wait to get my system. And that was the end of it. So for all of you people who are flipping the fuck out on their goddamn Facebook page, knock it the fuck off. It sucks that they're not out. I mean, it sucks that now you can go to a retail store, and those who were supposed to receive it months ago still haven't yet. But what are you going to do, alright? It was a massive undertaking. They grossly underestimated how many people they would have, and now they're dealing with way more money and way more media scrutiny than they were expecting. It sucks, but that's how it went. But if you're willing to hold out, I think the Ouya is still going to be worth something. So, getting to the actual system itself now. There are a couple of things that immediately came to mind when I first put it together. First off, the system, I'm sure if you haven't seen it, there's a video of the saddest unboxing. Some dunk who just was bitter and regretted the moment he reserved it. I wasn't so much like that. The system really only comes with a couple of things. The actual system, your controller, some batteries to go in the controller because it takes AA's, a power cable, and a very small length HDMI cable. That's all there was to it. Not a lot to it, about the size of a shoebox. After getting myself initially hooked up and plugged online, I noticed a couple of small issues. Issue number one is the design of the controller. It fits relatively comfortably. It feels a little bulky, but after using the Xbox 360 controller, it feels kind of dumb and huge. They've been mentioning a lot about the buttons sticking. I have not had this issue. I've popped the plates off a couple of times just to adjust the battery. The analogs feel smooth. The D-pad feels okay. My only complaints are the shoulder buttons here. If you're looking at the triggers, you can see they're kind of big and bulky, and they just don't feel very natural or fluid to me. They're kind of hang-uppy. it wouldn't be a huge issue, but a couple of the games that I've played force me to use them, and I'm not overly huge about that. There's only one other problem with the controller, and I don't really think that it's a problem with the controller itself. It's more of a problem with the system. This small device is our Ouya, about the size of a Rubik's Cube. As you can see, or I don't know how well it'll show, it's kind of a brushed aluminum, which looks pretty cool, but I was noticing that I was experiencing a good deal of controller lag on a couple of games. Like, the menus would navigate fine, but as I go through and play the game, I would sometimes be getting huge delays on them. Sometimes it would just keep going after I said to stop. Sometimes it wouldn't react right out the gate. I thought it was a problem with the controller. While browsing through the forums, I found that if you actually tilt the system onto its side, the top is plastic. If you tilt it so it's facing you, then the issues go away. I've been pretty much doing it that way since. Doesn't really bother me. And that's pretty much taken away the controller issue. The other fix you can do is you can actually sync up a PS3 controller with relative ease. The big thing to remember, there are some instructions online, is if you go to sync up your PS3 controller, unplug or depower your PlayStation. If it's in sleep mode, it's still going to look for those controllers and it won't work. That was the problem I had. There's only one other small issue I have, and that's with the screen overscan. A couple of the games seem to cut off the edges. I'm not sure if that's a programming issue. I've tried to fiddle with my TV settings and the Ouya settings, and it doesn't seem to fix them. Those are the only real issues I have with the system itself. So, what about the games? Well, I've played through a bunch of them, and the best feature of this thing by far is the whole free-to-play model. I love being able to just go through the store and just click around and just like, ooh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, and just download all of them, and if I don't like it, off it goes. If I do like it, I get to hang on to it, and if I want to pay for it, sure, go right ahead. And then I'll get the full version of the game. So, that's very cool. The store could use probably a smoother layout. The search is kind of like, you have to kind of know the title in order to do it. I would like a little more intuitive menu, but they have lots of time to change that or update that. What games did I like the most? Well, the top Ouya games, I would say, top of my list would be Chronoblade. Chronoblade it appears to be kind of this third-person arena brawler kind of thing. You pick one or two characters, and then you walk down to this little arena, and monsters keep respawning in waves. It's almost like a I want to say like a 2D horde mode kind of thing. It's got a lot of cool combos. It's got a bunch of special attacks. I haven't gotten very far in it, but it's definitely got a cool feel to it. It's the one game that the PS3 controller didn't seem to work with, which was really kind of a bummer. I was really looking forward to playing that with the PS3 control, but the Ouya one works fine. Very fast-paced, pretty graphically good-looking. And then there's the pause, because I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Anyways, so Chronoblade was definitely one of the cooler ones. One that I really got into, and for the Contra types, this is the one you're going to want to look out for. Gunslugs got this wonderful kind of 8-bit charm to it. Cool little MIDI techno music, and it plays just like a fast-paced Contra. It's very goofy and cartoony looking. It's hard, too. I really had a problem, like, just getting through it. But it's fast, it's fun to play. I've definitely fiddled with that. I'll probably get the full version of that game. Lots of little bullets flying all over the place. Enjoyed that one a lot. Definitely enjoyed that one. The one problem with that one is that's one of the major games that comes to mind when I complain about the whole screen framing issues. That it's one of the ones where I have a problem with the whole screen framing issues, where the edges and corners get cut off, which wouldn't be a problem. I mean, I lose the score and I lose some things on the bottom. The one thing is the life bar is in the upper left corner of the screen, and I can't see it if I'm player 1, which is kind of annoying. But that being said, definitely probably one of my favorites so far. The other one that I really liked was Deep Dungeons of Doom, which is kind of an RPG/rhythm game kind of thing, which I know sounds weird when you say it. It's another one with that cool kind of 8/16-bit retro kind of feel to it. You pick your little character and you go around to locations on the map, and instead of exploring dungeons or anything like that, it's you paired against an enemy, and you have your gauges at the bottom for your attack, and once it charges, you can take a swing. And you can keep, and every time it charges, you can take a swing, but if you have to keep your eye on the enemy, because the enemy will start to telegraph their own attack, and then you can hit a block button. There's also spells, which I haven't unlocked at this point, and there's also items you can use, but basically it becomes this battle of attrition on in a game of timing as you go through floor to floor to floor to floor to get to the boss. It's one that you can easily get yourself engrossed in, because you just become focused on your timing and paying attention to it. It would have been nice... I mean, it would have been nice to have a little more RPG feel to it, because, I mean, the game can get incredibly repetitive, but I'm also, you know, not bearing in mind that this is essentially a mobile platform without being on a phone. But those were definitely my top 3 games. There are also, you know, a handful of really good ones, too. Like, there's one called Beast Boxing Turbo, which looks a lot like a monster version of Punch-Out! It operates more on, like, the whole one-on-one fighting game thing, so once you knock out a life bar, you win a point to the round, and that's how there's 3 rounds in it. It's one of those games that focuses on the back 2 triggers, which I hated. I have not tried it with the PS3 controller yet, but I imagine it would be a little bit smoother, so I'm looking forward to doing it with that one. I like that one a lot. Also, pretty good looking graphics for the most part. One I just downloaded today was Nimble Quest, and this is basically just Snake. I mean, you know Snake, you're a little guy, you go around, you collect things, but it's also, you know, kind of that older, retro-looking style, but you select heroes, and as you walk around the map, other enemies and other snakes go, and they'll automatically attack, so you're still not trying to hit the walls and still not trying to hit the obstacles, but you're also, you know, fighting things as your snake gets longer, and there's gems to pick up, and there's different job classes who have different abilities. So I always loved Snake. I played the shit out of that on my phone. So I really liked that. Holy crap, I gone for 12 minutes already? Holy shit. Oh my god. Anyways, what was I saying? Nimble Quest. So that one I definitely liked. And the one thing, and probably the biggest saving grace of the system, is emulation is freaking king. There was a lot of controversy about that. The moment I loaded it up, there was almost an emulator for each genre of system, of old system, C64, Nintendo 64, Atari, Nintendo, and the one that I found my home with was the Super GSNES, which has been an absolutely fantastic Super Nintendo emulator. It literally took me a matter of seconds to pop in a little shitty 256 meg USB stick, and bam, I'm playing Super Punch-Out, and I'm playing Chrono Trigger, and I'm playing Secret of Mana and Mario World, and just, it looked great. I've also dabbled with a couple of the other ones, like the 64 one, which reminded me how shitty the N64 controller actually was, and what a pain in the ass it was to use. So, even if I paid $100 just to freaking have a standalone Super Nintendo emulator, I'm fucking okay with that. I really am. So those are really the big things that are popping out to me now. Why do I keep doing this? The big things that I think will really... Here's the things you need to remember when you're going into this console. One, you can't expect it to be your replacement for a PlayStation 3 or 4 or Xbone or Xbox 360 or even your freaking GameCube. Because it's not that platform. It's an Android console. It's designed to play those mobile things. Oh, that's another thing that I wanted to mention. It doesn't access the Google Play Store, which I thought was strange. So a lot of the games you might already be playing on Android aren't there, which was really a bummer, because I think a company like Gameville, who makes Enonia and a lot of those classic RPG-style adventure games, I think would find itself right at home on the Ouya. That would be a premier company if they converted their stuff over, and I'm hoping they do. But to get back to the original point, you know, it's an Android console, and the hardware's not huge, and there are some games that really kind of show how beefy it can get. I mean, most of the the biggest file types I've found so far have been about a half a gig. Or no, not even that, but like about 500 megs or so, which I'm pretty sure is a half a gig, but I don't know because I'm not computer smart, so I don't care. Anyways, and some of the ones that are graphically intense, you know, you'll see some expected slowdown on it, which is kind of a bummer, but all the retro stuff moves great, and I think that's really... I've said, when I argue with my comrade Phil over at #Nerd, he was very down on the system. I thought, I was saying that this is probably going to be a place where we'll see a rebirth of retro-style gaming. I really like the whole concept of just being able to develop something for it. And if you keep it within the mind of the hardware set, like if you're making those retro games, this is going to be a great place for you. If you're coming on here expecting to find the next Gears of War, it's not going to fucking happen. It's just not going to be there. But that being said, it's a little early in its cycle to really give it a fair criticism. A lot of people are really down on it. A lot of people are like, I hate it because it's not the whole modern gaming thing. Or I hate it because there's not enough good games on it. It just got started. It's a launch. Do you remember the 360 launch? There was shit for that system. There wasn't even anything good on the original Xbox launch, or even the PS2 launch. Sometimes there's maybe 1 or 2 good games. Maybe 3 or 4 at the tops. Same fucking thing with the Ouya. So I want to give it a couple of months to see what really comes out. So long as developers are pumping out games for this thing, I think it'll be okay. And I definitely love the idea of being able to go in and program something myself, even though I don't know how. I might look into it. So I want to say give it some time. For those who haven't received them, I don't want to say suck it up because you were promised a date and you should be getting it by that date, but you got to give them some slack. You really do. They have millions of people, probably thousands would probably be more accurate, thousands of people just bombarding them with just fucking negative shit, and it's 30 dudes. You couldn't... if you gave me almost $10 million and said, hey, produce a system in the next 6 months, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't even know who to fucking call, even if I was in the industry. So far I'm liking it. Definitely worth my time. I'm not upset that I got it. I'm not disappointed with it. I went in with the expectation of what it was. And more than anything, I support the ideals behind it. So if any of that sort of stuff sounds interesting to you, I'd say it's probably worth a look. It'll probably be better down... I mean, if they can keep themselves sustained long enough to keep the system running, I say it's probably going to be okay. It's going to take a little bit of time. I wouldn't expect this to be right out the mouth. Like, once the hack community gets into this, it should be pretty interesting. But, so that's where I stand on the Ouya right now. Got a couple of reviews coming up for Rage Quitter. I have a new video concept that I will hopefully be filming shortly, if I can get the respective partners I've asked to be a part of it. Probably need to develop some kind of intro video graphic or something. I really need to just revamp how the whole site looks, but so yeah, got a couple reviews coming up in the works. I've been writing quickies for #, but they haven't been going up for some reason. Other than that, that's all I got. So thank you for watching. Catch you next time. Why do I keep doing this? As soon as I find how to fucking end this thing. It's the one game. Alright, that was terrible. What's up, fuckers?